Okay. Says that it is setting up. While waiting, I will start recording. It's probably live already, and I'm just like checking to make sure that it's live, which is what happened yesterday. But I'd rather look funny the first 10 seconds than
it says on my screen live on Facebook.
Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. In case we are live already, I'm just double checking because I want to make sure that we are live and everything is working before we start getting into what we are talking about today. Yes, we are live. Okay, perfect. Hi, I'm Denise. For those of you who are watching for the first time, I am a mom of two living in Madrid, and I am a parenting coach. So basically, I help parents enjoy parenting. That's like the long story short of what I do. Because a lot of times I know that we have this idea of how we want to be as a parent, and then we become parents. And then the reality doesn't necessarily live up to the expectation, for better or for worse. So what I do is that I help you set up your new goals, right? Now that you've experienced how it is to be a parent, what are your goals for yourself, for your family, for your kids? And how you can align your everyday interactions with those goals in a way that you actually enjoy being a parent and being with your family. So today, we are actually going to move a bit away from being a parent and your family to talk about your emotional salary in relation to your work, right? And the reason why I decided to talk about this is because right now, with what's going on, a lot of us are working from home and while at the same time being a parent. And normally we think of these two things as being separate when really they're not, because a lot of times the way that things that happen at work affect the way that we later are with our kids. And especially right now when we are simultaneously working and parenting, right? It's a lot to take on. And the change of work from working from somewhere else and working from home, or even if you were working from home, but now you have your kids around, it affects your emotional salary. So we have here Clodagh Beaty to talk about what is an emotional salary. So she is the COO of Live Your Brand, which is a personal development consultancy, and her, along with her partner, I would say.
Yes, partner.
Yeah, and her partner. So they created the emotional salary, and I think just knowing how your emotional salary, knowing what it is and how it has changed, can really help bring awareness to you so that you're able to work in a more peaceful way. Yeah, so hi, Clodagh.
Hi, Denise. Thank you very much. So, yes, I mean, following on from what Denise said about, helping parents enjoy parenting, I would say that I help workers enjoy working. So when we think about our emotional salary, probably your first question is, what is emotional salary? So you know what your financial salary is. Mm-hmm. Your financial salary is the money you receive for working. Your emotional salary is the emotional benefit or non-financial benefit that you receive through working. And, I always ask people the question, why do you do what you do? Mm-hmm. And this often helps you get in touch with your emotional salary. If you think about your kids, if you ask your kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? Most of them are probably not going to give you an answer based on the salary. They're going to give you an answer based on, what they love, what's important to them, what they enjoy. So this is how I'd like you to think about your emotional salary. It's the non-financial rewards or benefits that you get from working. And going back to something I've heard in some of your previous Facebook Lives, Denise, is, you talk about thriving, not surviving. Well, your emotional salary can help you thrive and not survive in relation to your work. So the first thing to think about is, in the current situation, for many of us, we've had to adapt really, really quickly. Many people are now working from home. You've got your kids at home at the same time. It's really not easy. So one of the things that you should focus on in relation to your emotional salary is what you can control. There are going to be things in relation to your work that really matter to you, things that are really important, but in the current situation, you cannot control them. So don't focus on them. Focus on what is important to you and what you can control. That's where your attention should be at the moment.
Oh, that's funny, because just yesterday when I was talking to Heska, was the same thing. To just focus on what you can control. And even I was thinking of in the future to do a live just really focused on that. Like, just focus on what you can control. I feel like that's like key to life.
Absolutely. So when we think about our emotional salary and why it's important at the moment, if our emotional salary plays a huge role in helping us get through difficult times. If you think about whenever we have times of crisis, times of uncertainty, what becomes really important is those core things. That is what's going to help us get through. A crisis really does put things into perspective, and probably you're now going to be becoming very aware of the things that are most important to you. And having an awareness on your emotional salary and what elements of it are important to you will enable you to put that energy where you need it most, because we've only got a finite amount of energy. When you're trying to balance so many things at the moment, you need to focus your attention on what's really important for you. We also tend to, in situations like we're in at the moment, we also tend to focus on the negative. It's human nature. There's a psychological principle called negativity bias. We focus far more on the negative, and we have to work really much harder to become aware of the positive. So if you think about your emotional salary, that's one of the ways that you can do that, focusing on, okay, what's important to me in relation to my work, in relation to my emotional salary, and really pay attention to the positive, and that will help you in other areas. And linked into that, having a positive mindset, research has demonstrated that a positive mindset is much more likely to lead to thriving and success in many, many areas of our lives. So really, they're the reasons why your emotional salary is so important at the time. Now, we've only got limited time. I don't want to kind of go into I could talk about this for hours, as you can imagine. I'm going to touch briefly on what the main areas of our emotional salary are, and then maybe I'll give one or two tips about what you can do in the current situation to maintain it. So we've done a lot of research, and we have identified 10 factors of emotional salary, and we use those factors to build a tool that actually measures emotional salary. Now, those factors are autonomy, belonging, creativity, career direction, enjoyment, inspiration, mastery or being excellent at what you do, personal growth, professional growth, and meaning or purpose at work. Now, most of them are self-explanatory, and I don't want to spend time kind of explaining them too much, but is there anything you would
I have a quick question. What would be the difference between professional growth and career direction?
So your career direction is about the path that your future career is going in. So you might think, traditionally people tend to think of, opportunities of how their career can develop, promotions, moving into a different area, whereas your professional growth is about your skills and abilities. So it could be, how to use certain tools, or, you're improving your organizational skills, for example. Yeah, that's a good question. And mastery is also linked to that. And mastery is about working towards becoming a real expert in your chosen fields. So I think most people will be able to identify with these elements. What's important to note here is that we're all individuals, and what is important to me may not be important to you. So, you know, there'll be some of those 10 factors that are really important to me, but maybe for you, it's not important at all. So it's about thinking, okay, what is important to me? Which factors of my emotional salary mean the most to me? And they're the ones you should be concentrating on. And going back to what we said earlier about focusing on what you can control, it's very much about, you know, don't focus on things you can't control. So first, look at what's important to you. Then look at how you can impact that within your control. So I'll take the example of creativity. Creativity is important to me. I'm self-employed, so luckily I have quite a large amount of control. So if I think about, you know, what I'm really enjoying in this current situation is I have much more opportunity to use my creativity. You know, yeah, that's for sure. We're having to think on our feet, you know, how can we offer value? You know, we've had a lot of our projects been put on hold for obvious reasons. You know, people aren't in the workplace. So we're having to think, okay, so how can we offer value to our clients? What can we do? So, you know, an example of what I can do is think about, okay, how can we look at what we offer clients? How can we, you know, be more creative, come up with more creative solutions? So that's one way I can concentrate on that factor of my emotional salary at the moment. One of the other ones I'd like to kind of single out for special mention is probably autonomy. The reason I chose this is a lot of people think, oh, it's about flexible working or working from home. It's much, much wider than that. It's about having control over your work. And what's happening at the moment in the current situation, particularly with parents who have children at home, is, you know, you're expected to continue working, but you're juggling all these different things. So the tip we would have here is really kind of focus on your self-discipline, you know, and think about what you have control over when it comes to your working schedule. You know, can you adjust your objectives? Can you adjust your schedule to fit in with what, you know, your family situation, your situation at home? You know, what can you take control of there to make your life as easy as it possibly could be? Another one I'll mention is professional growth. Now, professional growth is traditionally we think, oh, you know, in times of crisis, professional growth goes out the window. You know, there's no opportunity, there's no time for learning, but it's actually the opposite. Professional growth is vital, and we actually see a real acceleration in times like this, but we have to shift our perspective, because really it's about identifying the learning that we're getting just through doing our work in a different way. So it's recognizing that through being at home, you know, when the whole of the family's at home, you're trying to be teacher for your children, you're trying to manage that, plus you're trying to juggle your job at the same time. There is a lot of learning in that. You're going to be improving your skills in so many different areas. So I would encourage you to think about that, record that. You know, that can help you in terms of your future career development. You know, these skills that you're learning now, get them down on paper. You know, think about them in terms of you know, as you develop your future career.
I really like that, because at first when you were talking, I thought you were going to say, yeah, now is the perfect time to learn French or learn, or, you know, do a course. And I was like, oh my God.
Not when you have a family. No.
I like how it's like you're learning something right now. You just have to be aware of what you're learning and writing it down so that you actually remember.
Yeah. And remember, we're learning all the time. Yeah. So I think that's probably, unless you've got any questions about any of the other factors, I think that's probably enough to share for the time being. what I would say is, if this subject has kind of piqued your interest and you're interested to find out more, on our website we actually have a fantastic free quiz where you can learn more about these 10 factors of emotional salary. So that's something that you can look at. And if you'd like kind of more in-depth information about your own personal emotional salary, then obviously we have the Emotional Salary Barometer, which measures that and gives you a personalized report on your emotional salary.
So just so people know, the Emotional Salary Barometer is just like a test, right? That you answer and then you send an email.
Yeah, I mean, I
did it. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't describe it as a test, because test kind of gives us the idea pass or fail.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. It's a questionnaire-based tool that will ask you various questions about your work, and it will use your answers to develop an individual and personal report, a detailed report, which will give you an emotional salary score and more information about your emotional salary, why the different factors are important, and some tips on how you can improve. Yeah.
So for those of you who are listening, I did do the test, and what I got back, I was both not surprised and surprised, because there were some things that were higher than what I thought, and there were some things that were low and I knew would be low. And it's nice to know, that's like kind of what I said in the beginning, and what Clodagh said as well. Like, a lot of times we're just living life, but we're not really aware of what we're doing, of what we're thinking, of what's going on. So it's nice to bring in that awareness, and then from that awareness you can decide, am I happy with the way things are? Are there things I want to change? And then focusing on what you can change and what you can control moving forward.
And one of the interesting things we found from our research is purely, by bringing an awareness to our emotional salary, we actually start to recognize and appreciate what we have. And that leads to greater satisfaction, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Clodagh. I will share the link to your website in the video description, so that they can visit it if they want to learn more about emotional salary in general and their own personal emotional salary. And is there anything else you would like me to share or add in the...
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I would say is we're doing a series of webinars at the moment about how to increase your emotional salary in times of crisis. We've just had I've literally just come off one of them in English. We're doing them in dual language. We're doing a series in English and a series in Spanish. For individuals, 7:00 tonight, but next week we've got webinars that are focused for teams and business owners or senior managers. So I'll give you the links that you can also share to sign up.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, thank you so much. So again, Clodagh has the free emotional salary test, the emotional salary barometer, and webinars if you want to sign up and learn more about this. At the same time, I am still offering my free sessions. So if you are right now living in a moment where you kind of you feel like something has to change, but you don't even know what, or you know that something needs to change and you know what it is that you want to change, but you don't know how to do it, or you know how to do it, you're just not doing it, I can really help you with that, and we can get really clear on what's going on, what needs to be changed, how you can do it, when you can do it, and if you don't do it, why you're not doing it. So please send me a message if you're interested, and we'll schedule a call. Okay, and thank you so much for listening. Tomorrow I'll be going into siblings a bit more. I talked about it last week, but I really want to focus tomorrow on sibling fights. So I'll see you then. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.